Boa noite, sejam bem-vindos. Good evening and welcome to you all. Buonasera e benvenuti a tutti. Bem-vindos ao sétimo evento da plataforma A Escrever Connosco. My name is Niccolo Bonacchi, and I'm a PhD student here at the Champalimaud Centre program. The event tonight is called Think of a Number, From Mind Tricks to Neuroscience. And I would like to start off with a quote from one of my favorite science fiction authors, is Arthur C. Clarke. And it says, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Sorry. I would add that the brain is the most sophisticated piece of technology that we know, and as such is also the most magical. At this point, I would like to make a small disclaimer. We're going to talk about magic tonight, but magic is not magical. Magic is not supernatural, and it's not paranormal. Magic is about expectations, learning to break those expectations, and the ability of being surprised. My personal journey from mind tricks to neuroscience started around 15 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago. I was a high school student, and I was studying chemistry at the time. I used to go to this small esplanade near the Hotel Centre. Some of you might know it. It's called Champalimaud, and it's also a circus school. I used to go there to study for my exam. As a normal teenager, I wasn't studying that much. I was mostly distracted by what was going on around me. And if you're in a circus school, there's a lot of things going on around you that are interesting. I remember being fascinated by jugglers specifically. There were all sorts of students that were practicing their arts. There were acrobats and actors. But juggling for me had a very, very specific appeal. I was completely I completely admired the way they managed to keep objects in the air and manipulate objects in a way that looked very, very natural. I liked it so much that I ended up dropping out of high school and going to circus school to become a juggler. I discovered magic soon after entering circus school. And it's not very easy to discover magic. Magic by its own nature is very secretive. You cannot just go up to a magician and say, hey, I really like your show. Please can you tell me how you do it? Usually they will just say no or ignore you. Today you can go online, and if you go to YouTube and you write the card trick in a text box, you will literally find tens of thousands of videos of people that teach you how to do tricks and magic tricks. At the time, Google was just starting, and the internet was not that very widespread. So I had to do it the hard way. I went to a library. I went to the occult section, and I tried to read every magic book that I could put my hands on. I decided to develop a type of magic that for me was interesting as a juggler, which is close-up magic. And close-up magic is the magic that happens, as the name states, right in front of the audience. And it uses manipulation of small objects, small everyday objects like coins or cards or cigarettes, or rings. And besides the manipulation part, which I really loved since the beginning, I discovered that I had to learn how to manipulate people's expectations and attention. So I would like to try a small experiment with you tonight. I have here 4 cards, and hopefully this will work. Yay! So I have all of you have the same cards that I have in my hands. Please don't lose the cards; they will be useful in a while. We will tell you later what to do with them. These 4 cards are aces for dramatic purposes. But basically, what I want to show you is it's a trick about interesting ways and a little less interesting ways of flipping cards into a deck. So, I have to be back there. Cool. So the least interesting way of flipping the card, you probably have all of you have decks of cards at your house. And if you want to flip a card, you would grab a card and flip it. And this is not very interesting for a magician because even if you, this is the time. Yes, sorry. Even if you flip the card is still an ace of hearts. And what I would like to do is to find a little bit more interesting way of flipping the card. I found that if you think about the card that you want to flip and you shape the deck in the correct way, the card will flip itself. So I'm going to try doing it with the I don't know, ace of clubs, as power. So I think about the ace of clubs, I shape the deck, and the ace of clubs should appear. If now I would think of the ace of diamonds, I just think of it, I just need to shake the deck a little bit. And the ace of clubs will have turned, and the ace of diamonds turn here. We see the ace of clubs and the ace of diamonds. Let's try the hardest ace, which is the ace of spades. And the ace of spades probably need a couple of shakes. There you go. And hopefully, if everything went right, I'll have the ace of spades now turn. You can see these are the exact 4 cards. I don't have sleeves, so it's hard to have something off my sleeve. So I'll just put the ace of spades back in its place, and I'll go for the last ace, which is the first one I showed you in a not very interesting way. I'll go for the ace of hearts. So I just go through the deck and I go 1, 2, I'm sorry. If you don't shake the deck, the ace of hearts will never come out. So, thank you. So how do I go from this to neuroscience? It's not an easy question, but it's a long answer, so I'll just cut through it. I basically got interested in a different question. The same fascination that brought me to circus school and then magic brought me to try to understand how is this working? Why is the mind tricked so easily? I can present this literally to every one of you in front of you, and you will not understand the trick. And that for me was fascinating. I ended up studying psychology, then psychobiology, and now finally neuroscience. What I've discovered is that neuroscience and magic are not that far apart as they might seem. I'll give you an example. As I was doing the trick, I was looking at the first row of the audience. I know the speakers, but these rows were here. And there was a couple of faces that were very, very interesting. Some of them were surprised, some of them were intrigued. But first of all, thank you very much, because that's exactly what the performer wants when he comes to the stage. But I can tell you that for a second there, every single person in this room was a neuroscientist. And what I mean by that is that you saw something you couldn't understand, and you immediately tried to formulate a hypothesis in your head of how is that possible, how could it be possible, because I'm seeing it. As a neuroscientist, that's what we do more or less. We usually start with a behavior, which is interesting. We formulate a hypothesis, and then we test the hypothesis and try to falsify them, and see if they're true or not. What I can tell you about the trick that I just showed you is that it's not a trick, it's not one single trick. It's a collection of simple, or not so simple, basic techniques of card manipulation that are arranged in a way to provoke the effect that I just saw. In the same sense, I could say that behavior is an arrangement of basic principles of the brain that are arranged in a way to produce the behavior you might observe. Because I love both neuroscience and magic very much, I will not tell you how the trick is done, so you can all feel like neuroscientists a bit longer. So my job here is to introduce the speakers. Tonight we'll have a neuroscientist, a mentalist, and a hypnotist, and they kindly agreed to come here and share a little bit about what they do, and hopefully how also, if we're lucky. Our first speaker is called Christian Huygens. He is a German physicist, and he worked in Germany, France, and the US, and is now a principal investigator here at the Champalimaud Neuroscience Group. Please let's meet him.